How's it going, YouTube? I hope you're doing well wherever you are. My name is Chris. My channel is called The Body Wish. Yes, I'm the guy with the yellow hat and the microphone.
I know that, dude.
I help people achieve optimal well-being by helping them to develop habits that will improve their overall well-being with clinically proven methods versus opinion-based hearsay. I also help recommend foods that are going to set them up for success long-term, and I help them to improve their mindset, their self-confidence. Having that higher level of self-confidence along with great nutrition helps to ensure you have a more successful wellness journey. All right. So my presentation is educational. I don't diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disorder or illness, whatever you want to call it. That is the role of your healthcare practitioner. All right. So let's get started. I want to begin by sharing some ways to help you improve your self-confidence. And I do this because this is the starting point to implement lifestyle changes. You have to be at a point in your life, in any life, where you are open to discovering new possibilities that will have a positive impact on you. All right, so it's safe to say that we've all reached a point where we realize life is not a walk in the park. It's actually quite the opposite. And for that very reason, many of us get stuck, feel frustrated, and when this happens for long periods of time, it can lead to a doom and gloom outlook on life, where life has no meaning, it feels shrill, and there's no happiness on the horizon. Now, this is also in conjunction when people stop taking care of themselves. They get disconnected from this, and taking care of themselves no longer has the importance that it deserves. So this introduces the opportunity to develop unhealthy lifestyle habits. So, and then trying to turn this around can feel like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. So it shouldn't be this difficult, but yet here we are. All right, so what I want to say is it's okay to feel demoralized, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to indulge in self-pity. These are your feelings. Everyone has a right to these. You don't feel these for no reason. And you'll never hear me say you don't have, you don't have the right to feel this, or you should not feel these feelings. No, you do. You feel them. It's important to acknowledge this. I think it plays a key role in helping us to recover by simply acknowledging them than not. So, but there is also a catch to this too, because sometimes we get stuck in this for too long. And as much as you feel justified and, in your unhappiness, in your resentments, it's okay. Like I said, I've had plenty of periods in my life where this was the case. You just don't want to get stuck in this, though, because you got to ask yourself at some point, how much do I want to spend my life bitching about this and not taking action to overcome it? So when this happens long term, it ends up having the opposite effect. You're no longer just venting and acknowledging it. It ends up holding you back. It becomes a gateway to an unhealthy and unfulfilled life, and I don't want to see this happen to you. So how can we really turn things around? What's a remedy for this? Well, my rule of thought is consistency. Consistently telling yourself you have the goods. And you don't just do this once in a while when the mood hits you. This is not a part-time job. This is a commitment that you make to yourself every single day and throughout the day. Because think about it. If you're spending hours each day feeling unhappy, depressed, you see no self-worth in yourself, don't you think you owe it to yourself to at least pat yourself on the back? Hey, what's going on, Big Blue Rig? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining the show. What's going on, Hazik? Hope you're doing well as well. Thanks for joining the presentation. So I'm going to be talking about a number of different things. I'm focusing in on helping to improve people's self-confidence, and then I'm going to divulge. I think I just made up a new word. I divulge some information on helping people lose weight and keep it off for the long hurl. I think it's a little bit of both. So don't wait for recognition and praise to come from the outside. It's not going to drop out of the sky. All right, I've never seen a billboard on the side of the road that says acknowledge your greatness. So this is something we have to kind of hold ourselves accountable to and put this into regular practice. And I can speak from experience, this is not something a lot of us are taught growing up. I know I wasn't taught this. So sometimes people will be hesitant and they think that this is being egotistical by praising yourself, by acknowledging, your greatness. And this is not about being egotistical. This is about feeling comfortable in your own shoes. It's about being your own friend versus your nemesis, because, God knows we get in our own way. We suffer more in our imagination than we do in reality. And, I speak from experience. I've done this myself for many periods of my life. So why is all this important? To acknowledge your greatness, to build your self-confidence. I'm going to help you, Kelly McKinley, how to eat healthy. I'm going to come up and I'm going to be getting into that in a minute. The main reason why you want to build your self-confidence is this is where change begins, because you got to live with yourself. And many times people feel they don't measure up to someone or some milestone in life. Leave that in the past where it belongs. There is no hierarchy. There's no such thing as they're up there because they're great and I'm down here because I'm not. This is a lie many people tell themselves day in and day out. How about start saying things like, today I overcome all of my setbacks. Welcome to the best day of my life. All right. When you start saying these are affirmations, by the way, it slowly but surely starts to turn your outlook around. You get out of that doom and gloom, and you know what? You're open to a lot more possibilities. It helps you to meet certain goals. Kelly's looking to figure out how to eat healthy. By improving your mindset, it's going to ensure that you have a successful weight loss journey. It's a successful wellness journey. So I want to just show you guys a couple of my favorite slides, because I find these to be very inspiring. They keep me motivated and not getting stuck in doom and gloom. So I'll zip through them quickly. Feel free to take screenshots, or you know what? I need to put these up on my YouTube channel here. I need to get my link tree set up. So I'm going to put a PDF. You guys will be able to download them. I'm going to do this first thing in the morning. Enough of my rambling on. Welcome to the best day of your life. Note to self. This is very powerful. I enjoy this one. I say this first thing when I wake up in the morning. Today, I conquer all of my setbacks. I found this just a few weeks ago on Pinterest. There's a lot of these are on Pinterest. You can look them up online, go to your search engine of choice, and just search affirmations. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. I feel like going out for a sports team now. If this can become cider, you can become anything. Forget the mistake, remember the lesson. I have to remind myself this. I'm still hung up on things from my past, things that I did I wasn't very proud of. Got to move on. We got to move forward. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. This is never more true. This is when we overcome our setbacks. This is when we do things we never thought we could do before. And this is actually an affirmation here that I recommend to people I help get on a weight loss journey, because oftentimes people are afraid to come out of their discomfort zone. They have a lot of trouble getting motivated and getting started. So I tell them, imagine where you'll be in 30 days if you just start now, because that starts to paint a picture. It will start to turn this into a reality. Everything begins with changing how you see the world, how you see yourself. There is no failure. You either win or you learn. It's not over when you lose, it's over when you quit. All right, last one. It's time to acknowledge your greatness. This is one I would like to see on the side of the road. I would love to see this on a billboard on the side of the road. I think it would help me get through heavy traffic. I think it would lower a lot of people's blood pressure. So oftentimes when stress, doom and gloom goes unabated, all right, we fall into this cycle. Many times people reach for different things to help put a smile on their face. And one of the things that people reach for is food. And I can relate. I lived with a chef for 10 years. Yeah, I know what it's like to have healthy meals. Yeah, I know what it's like to have delicious meals. But see, here's the catch. A lot of the foods that people reach for in the supermarkets, they don't have the nutrients. Not in the abundance that we need them. They're nutritionally bankrupt. Well, guess what this leads to? This leads to food cravings. Food cravings are a way that the body tells you it needs nourishment, but because so much of the food that's out there doesn't nourish the body, this causes the cravings to become persistent, even obsessive, kind of like a mosquito buzzing in your ear. And what does that lead to? That leads to people putting on weight. And a lot of people just will let themselves go and just ignore all the risks. And, you've heard this before. There are no upsides to being overweight. This is not to shame anybody, make them feel bad. I'm talking specifically from a health and wellness perspective as well as a mindset perspective. There's no upside to this. So let's say you're one of these people who's fallen into this and now you want to turn your life around. You recognize the danger it poses to your health. So what do people do? Well, most people reach for some method of calorie deficit, counting calories, calorie restriction. We've heard all these terms before. Now, I want to share some irony and I'm going to share some science with you. First of all, I never give you my opinion on why things work or don't work. I would much rather share clinical research because the clinical research is irrefutable. First, let me tell you about the irony. Okay, your body does not know what a calorie is. The only reason why you count calories is because somebody told you. Now, there are no medical studies out there that says calorie deficit works long term. There's not one study out there. I want to show you some science now to support what I'm saying. And please take a screenshot, look this up on your own. This was put out a few years ago by Harvard University. It's called Stop Counting Calories. And the scientist who led this investigation has said we got to rethink our whole approach to losing weight if we want to keep it off for the long term. So she says and read the article, she said that not only is counting calories inefficient, it's flat out wrong. It does not work long term. Okay, as I said, your body doesn't know what a calorie is. The only thing that your body understands is nutrition. It doesn't count calories. It's the quality of the nutrition that you give it plays a direct role in how well it can rebuild itself. In that respect, it's a lot like a car. I don't have to go into the whole, if you put in the wrong gasoline, yeah, you get it. When you don't nourish your body, this causes food cravings. It also causes the body to struggle. It weakens the immune system. When you're counting calories, what you're actually doing is you're dialing back the amount of fuel that your body can operate on. So imagine trying to drive a car from LA to Washington, D.C. on a quarter of tank of gas. It's unthinkable. It's not going to happen. Something very similar happens to the body. Once the brain senses there's not enough fuel to operate, what it does is it turns to other sources for energy. The two places it turns to is fat, but it also turns to muscle. That's why diets and these pharmaceutical drugs are called weight loss options. They're not called fat loss because you're not just burning off fat. When you start burning through muscle, this is going to slow down your metabolism. It's also going to slow down your immune system. It's really unhealthy. People think that counting calories is a solution, but unknowingly to many of them, it creates a whole other problem. When your metabolism slows down, guess what takes a nosedive? Your ability to burn fat. This is the primary reason why so many people get into, one or more diets, or they're doing the drugs to suppress the appetite. They'll have success in the beginning because anybody can lose weight in the beginning in calorie deficit. You can lose weight on a Coca-Cola diet. But once the brain senses there's not enough fuel to operate and it starts to turn to muscle, it's harder and harder to burn fat. It's the primary reason why so many people hit that plateau. I'm actually connected with somebody on TikTok who's been doing the GLP-1, the semaglutide, for over 2 years. And I'm not saying this to be insensitive or cruel or anything, but this person has hardly made any progress. They also don't know how to eat. They're still eating all the wrong foods, which is not working in their favor. But when the metabolism slows down, it becomes harder and harder and eventually impossible to lose weight. None of this is my opinion, by the way. That's why I put the science up there. I want to give you guys another thing you can look up if you want to double check for yourself. And then I'm going to show you a wonderful holistic solution that is not based on counting calories. So one more resource for you guys to look up. Look up Obesity Apocalypse. Go to your search engine of choice, Obesity Apocalypse. You're going to find some articles by a British medical journal called The Lancet Journal. They predict by 2050, 260 million Americans are going to be either overweight or obese. That's not great news. So you tell me, how good is counting calories if the numbers are going up and they're not coming down? They should be coming down. There's over 100 diets out there. There's drugs now to suppress the appetite. Instead, we're seeing the opposite. It's all because of what I just shared about it slowing down the metabolism. So counting calories does something to you. It doesn't do something for you. So if it's not all it's cracked up to be, what other options do we have? Well, I am going to show you a wonderful holistic nutritional system that when it was in its concept phase 10 years ago, the idea was to create a system that would dial back the amount of food you're eating, but unlike calorie deficit, it does not dial back the amount of nutrition. It actually addresses the three main culprits that contribute to excessive weight gain and overall poor health conditions in general. So what the system does is it addresses nutritional deficiency. That's one of the culprits. Stress. All of us are impacted by stress. Stress actually causes weight gain. And also toxicity in the body. Unfortunately, the environment has gotten more contaminated over the decades, so there's a lot more junk floating around in the water, in the air. Guess what? They're in our foods. That's why so many people, even at younger ages, 20s, 30s, 40s, are developing allergies, full-blown illness, brain fog. I never had brain fog until about, almost 10 years ago, which, by the way, I got over it, and the solution I'm going to show you actually helped me get over that. All right, enough of my rambling. I'm going to show you guys what this system is all about. Drum roll, please. This is called a 30-day reset. I'm going to go through these 3 core products with you, and then I want to show you some amazing science because I'm a big proponent of sharing clinical research versus me giving you my opinion. All right, first product, front and center with the red text. These are superfoods. They're really easy to prepare, all clinically proven, everything I'm going to be sharing with you. They make up for the nutrients that sadly are no longer abundant in our regular store-bought foods. The container up in the upper left are adaptogens. Adaptogens help us to recover from stress. And then the containers on the lower left are botanicals that we're going to take on a day of intermittent fasting to rid the body of these awful contaminants we're exposed to way too often. All right, next slide. This system, the 30-day reset, was tested against the gold standard diet in the U.S., which is the Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean's been voted #1 diet by U.S. News and World Report 8 years in a row now. It's not a bad diet, but it does operate on calorie deficit. Check this out. This was the first of 7 human clinical trials. All right, human clinical trial is the highest level of medical investigation there is. In the first 8 weeks, those who are on this 30-day reset experience 56% more weight loss than those who are on the Mediterranean diet. They experience twice as much visceral fat. That's the belly fat. That's the hardest fat to burn. That's also the fat that stores toxins when the body can't eliminate them. And they're right near your major organs. People also experience 41% drop in food cravings. The cravings are what lead people to compulsive eating. So this dialed back the food noise 41% in the first 8 weeks. 25% improvement in gut health, 6 to 9% more lean muscle. See, if this was calorie deficit all over again, people would be losing muscle. Their metabolism would be slowing down. Instead, people saw an increase in muscle. Now, I also want to add, for the sake of the tests, nobody was allowed to exercise. They didn't want exercise to influence the test results. It was just straight high-quality nutrition. Now, I'd like to show you how simple this system is, and it'll blow your mind, especially when you think about all the mental gymnastics with counting calories. So remember, 3 core products. The first core product was the superfoods. Very easy to prepare. It's just like making your favorite smoothie. For less than $5, you get all 90 key nutrients. We're supposed to be getting 90 key nutrients in every meal. Sadly, most of us don't. So you get all the nutrients, so this makes them a meal replacement. They're low glycemic. They're not going to spike your sugar level. All the ingredients are free of any kind of contaminants. There's no GMOs, no artificial junk, this, that, or the other thing. And again, everything I'm sharing with you is not my opinion. This is all clinically tested, third-party tested. Gluten-free, soy-free, essential vitamins, minerals. These are great for people with busy schedules. So what you simply do is for the first 6 days of each week, you replace 2 of your 3 meals with these superfoods. They make up for the nutrients that are no longer abundant in most of our foods. And then what you do on the 7th day is we set this aside for intermittent fasting. And we take, the container has about 16 detoxifying botanicals that aid the liver in getting rid of a lot of these contaminants, things like forever chemicals, PCBs, dioxins, pesticides, herbicides. All this junk is in our environment. It's in our foods. So this system has been clinically proven to remove all of this, and they did very rigorous testing on this. Anybody who wants to nerd out and read these clinical studies, I can show you the resource. These are the direct publications that are in a number of top medical journals. Tell me a diet that's undergone third-party studies. No, I didn't think so, because they don't do it, because they don't want you to know about the loss of lean muscle. So that's what I like about this system. Everything is transparent. Third and final core product comes in the form of adaptogens. Adaptogens help us to recover from stress. It's all natural. They're high in antioxidants, which helps the life of the cell, helps to extend the life of the cell. This is something you would take for all 30 days. So first 6 days, superfoods, 7th day, intermittent fasting, and then each week just repeats. It's rinse and repeat, super easy peasy. No mental gymnastics with counting calories. None of this, can I plug in the toaster or the hairdryer? And I love the fact that they have actual medical proof that it works. All 5 health markers improved within the first 30 days when people got on this 30-day reset. This has never been seen before in medical history. So what this system does is it makes every form of calorie deficit obsolete. Not because I say so, because the science says so. And I am a big proponent of clinical research. Let's be real. This is the internet. This is social media. This is the land of opinions. Opinion-based this and opinion-based that. And I don't mean any disrespect. I know a lot of people are simply trying to help based on what they know. But I'm going to put my money on something that's been tested at a university and then has been published in a medical journal before I take somebody's opinion. Because when it comes to calorie deficit, I have seen over and over again, even here on YouTube, I go and I watch other influencers' videos on how to lose weight. Calorie counting is the only way to do it. It's hogwash. It's outdated. It simply doesn't work long term. There's no proof. There's no medical studies out there. Otherwise, I'd be saying, get into calorie deficit. But because there's no proof behind it, it doesn't work long term. More people are becoming overweight and obese than the other way around, where the numbers should be dropping. Something's clearly wrong here. So that's why I promote this system. This system has helped tens of thousands of people over the last 10 years. It works. It works like nobody's business. And you know what's even great about this is it's not just for people who need to lose weight, because it's not just a weight loss solution. I tried this system out about 4.5 years ago. I went through a period of over 25 years where I was constantly dealing with fatigue. And the last 5 years of that 25-year period, it got so bad I had to stop exercising. Because what would happen is if I did 15 minutes of stretching, I'm a big proponent of Hatha yoga, 15 minutes of stretching would wreck me the next day. I would wake up, by late morning, early afternoon, I felt like I'd been up for 24 hours. My ears were ringing like church bells. I was lightheaded. So I had to give up exercise because I had to be well enough to get out of bed and work. I had brain fog for 5 years. So when I tried this system out, it came highly recommended by somebody I've known a really long time, and he spoke very highly about the ingredients, the fact that they had the clinical studies. He explained how the system works, how it helps the body heal more efficiently than anything else he had ever seen. I thought, I'll try it out. I'll take it for a test spin, and we'll see what happens. And I had, very minimal expectations. I did it more out of curiosity. Well, when I loaded up on the superfoods for the first 6 days, and then I did that day of intermittent fasting on the 7th, the following day, I had a very significant improvement. The brain fog cleared up. I felt more rested. I got a really good night's sleep, something I hadn't had in ages. So I continued through this 30-day system. Everything was improving. It was like I was feeling like my old self again. I had to pinch myself at one point. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is working? After working with, 3 or 4 different doctors over the years, getting tested for Epstein-Barr, Lyme disease, food allergies, heavy metals, deficiencies. I worked with a naturopath for a while. She thought maybe I was suffering from exposure to mold. I struck out with that. That was an expensive lesson. I worked with a nutritionist. I hired a dietitian at one point. I even had the benefit of living with a chef for 10 years. Chefs get a lot of training in nutrition. But despite my best efforts to live a healthy lifestyle, doing everything correctly on paper, that made no difference in my fatigue. So when I tried this system out, I had such a great experience with it because these products are designed to produce a synergistic effect on the body. And the body is the miracle. We just don't have the tools, unfortunately, not like we should. I wish I could say, just go to the supermarket, get A, B, C, and D, and Bob's your uncle, you be good in the hood. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for a lot of people. I was one of those people. So this system worked like nothing I'd ever tried before. That's why 4+ years later, I'm here on YouTube, Monday night, and I'm sharing these benefits because I know a lot of people are stuck. They're struggling. They're trying so many different things out. They're following a lot of, recipes and opinions that are promoted on social media. This system has medical proof that it works. It's bank account friendly. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to wrap it up in a couple of minutes. Unless there's any questions, I want to give you guys a resource you can go take a look at for yourself. I always encourage people to do their own investigation. So this is a website that I put together. It's called thebodywish.wordpress.com. You can also access it from my homepage here on YouTube. Take a screenshot if you like. So when you get to the home page, go up to the products menu and then click on nutritional system. And it's got a lot of great information, most of which I've just shared with you. And there's also a short video. It's like 3 minutes long. It gives you a nice overview of how the system works. It delves a little bit into the science, nothing too deep. You guys will be fine. I'm not a world-class scientist. It's not like it was difficult for me or anybody to follow. Sometimes in life, we don't know what we don't know unless we take that extra step and we do some more investigation on our own. That's what led me to trying this out. I thought, what have I got to lose? It has a money-back guarantee. It's 30 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. So let me know if I can help you or maybe somebody that you know. By the way, that website I put up, I'll put it back up one more time. There's a contact page on there as well. If you go to the contact page, I set up a Calendly link. And if you want to get on a Zoom call with me, bring your questions, bring your skepticism. I will do my utmost to provide clarity for you. This was a game changer for me. So that's why I promote this. I want to share this because I know a lot of people are struggling and I know what you're up against. It's very hard to overcome, losing weight, keeping it off for the long haul, people who are struggling with this constant fatigue, brain fog, all that stuff. Unfortunately, it's very difficult times we're living in. Unfortunately, our food industry is not what it should be. And yeah, I could go on about it. I think you guys get where I'm going with this. So it's been an honor to be here. I'm always grateful for you guys dropping in on my presentation. I'm going to drop off now. And I wish you the best. Reach out to me. Follow my channel for more wellness tips, holistic remedies, and improved mindset. I'll even throw in my dry sense of humor at no extra charge. It's been an honor. Enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you so much. Ciao for now.